It's the Culture Smash Cast, episode 629 for July the 26th, 2023. I'm Stephen Lackey, editor of the Culture Smash Cast. Tina?
I'm Tina Qualls, contributor to CultureSmash Cast.
And Zach?
Zach Martin, professional idiot.
That's true. We're short one Nico because he is helping the baby.
He's on baby duty.
He's on baby duty.
He is indeed on baby duty.
And that kind of works out because we are going to be... Well, it actually doesn't work out in a way because he had a differing opinion on the movie we're going to be talking about today. So before we get into it, though, let's just do the advertisement here. Join us every Wednesday night, live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, starting at around 6 p.m. CST. Follow us on your platform of choice. Interact with us. Join the conversation. We watch the chats and read your comments live on the show. Special thanks to Skinny Mixes. What the fuck? Sorry about that.
Yeah. Do you have a script?
No, I do. It just went crazy on me for a second. So special thanks to Skinny Mixes for supporting the Culture Smash Cast. Skinny Mixes are coffee and dessert syrups that are 0 sugar, 0 calorie, and 0 to 2 carbs. Head on over to skinnymixes.com and try some of their delicious syrups such as the white chocolate, salted dark chocolate, salted caramel, and a variety of cocktail mixers and fruit infusions. My favorite being the margarita. Use promo code CultureSmash for a 15% discount on your order. Per SAG-AFTRA guidelines for the strike, we are not doing box office, and we are not doing opening new this week. There are some new things, though, that we can do.
Let's just say it was a very big weekend.
It was a very big weekend. And we're going to get to what our weekends entail in a second. I just want to make sure I get this out so I don't forget it. As of now, there is an agreement out there from basically the strike teams that if a studio signs the agreement, it says that whatever deal is struck, you will go back and honor that deal for everything you currently have in production. If you sign that, then you can work. A24 signed the agreement. They said they will do whatever the agreement is for everything that's in production right now. So suddenly, we can talk about anything related to A24. They are no longer
coming out this weekend for A24.
They are no longer a struck company. So that's great. Also, Neon is not a struck company.
Hey!
So we may be looking at some older movies from those two companies. And there are about 50 other individual productions. Their studio might be struck, but the particular film, the team behind the film has signed the agreement that they will cover whatever deal is made. So I'll add stories about those movies in production to our script moving forward, which is kind of cool because that's some indie movies that maybe don't get as much talk normally. This is brilliant marketing for them. All they had to do was sign a contract and agree to pay people right.
I am not at all surprised that A24 was one of the first ones to sign.
I'm not either. Zach and I were talking about this in the pre-show. I have my fears about A24's growth pattern, but I still think in general the core of that company is good. So I'm happy that we can do that. So We'll talk about what they have coming out. We'll review, and obviously we can still be play film critic here and review things, which is what we're going to do today. But we'll focus on some of their stuff, which is cool because they have a horror movie coming out that all of us want to see.
I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Yep. So before we get into what we're doing tonight, Tina, what did you and Nico get into over the weekend?
Oh,
anything
Lord.
Interesting?
Not really much. We took turns going to see movies, and generally tried to recuperate from baby. So didn't quite work, but we tried.
Zach, you got anything interesting to report?
Boy, I had a hell of a weekend, had a hell of a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't know anything about that, though.
I wouldn't know anything about it. Yes? Yes.
That's about it. That was my... that was my big, this is what I did. One day from noon to 9 p.m.
Yeah, we're going to get into that because I did the same thing. Basically, it was a movie watching day. We did the thing. So
We did the trendy thing.
We did the trending thing. Let's just say it that way. And some of it was on beautiful 70mm film.
Just 70mm?
757.53 millimeter film.
Well, so it's 5 perf 70, right?
Oh my God. We're not masturbating on this.
To be fair, there is a 70mm print going around of it.
It didn't matter that much.
It's a 15 perf.
To be fair.
70mm.
It didn't matter that much.
We saw 40% more image.
I know we did. I know.
Than people who would regularly
we saw
see
it as it needed to be seen. If you're anywhere near the Nashville area and you can still get tickets, which I hear are difficult to
You're
get.
going to have to go to an 11 p.m. or toss the dice.
And seeing that movie at 11 o'clock at night is going to be a trial.
You better get coffee.
You better get it. Yeah, you better smuggle in a couple of coffees. Of course, that's going to make you have to pee.
Oh, man.
And having to pee during that.
Nothing worse than the coffee poops during a movie, man.
Yeah, coffee poops would be the worst.
Because there's no
good break. I would tell you, there's not really a good break in the movie. But
well,
we'll talk about that one.
There's one.
Well, we'll get to that next week.
But you got to run.
Yeah.
You got to run, boy.
But before we get into what we're doing this week, is there a film ball update?
There is. Not much of an update, but there's an update. Keep in mind, this does not take into account the numbers for this past weekend. So for the main game, in fifth place is me with $97.8 million. In fourth place is Nathan with $334.8 million. In third place is Nika with $400.1 million. In second place is Steven with $457.7 million.
Still in the
first
game.
place is Zach with $628.1 million.
So Nathan is convinced he's going to catch your ass with Barbie. He's convinced.
We will wait and see on that.
It made some fucking banging money.
It made banging money on the weekend.
I mean, can I say how much it made, or is that not?
So, Tina, how far behind Zach is Nathan?
Nathan is $293.2 million behind.
Boy, it's going to be a close game.
This is going to be fun.
Because I think Barbie made something like 160 this weekend.
150.
Yeah.
Zach still has 1, 2, 3 movies yet to come out.
Fuck yeah.
Like what?
Talk to Me, Last Voyage of the Demeter, and Blue Beetle.
I'm fucked.
It's a bunch of shit you got coming out.
I'm fucked.
Nathan still has roughly about 4 movies. The Meg 2, Barbie, Gran Turismo, and Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, I'm fucked.
Yeah, you're fucked. He's going to catch you right at the end. This is going to be a great battle because it's probably going to run down to the line, but he's going to catch you.
I mean, hey, I enjoy close calls. If I come in second and it just barely happens, it's a good game. I hate being blown the fuck out of the water.
This is actually a good game because it's gonna be fun to see it all the way to the end.
Everyone being like, Nico's gonna be the one to win. Nico's gonna be the one.
I thought so, man, but his movies
So
bottomed out.
All right, and for the Tiki Taki game, in fifth place is Steven with $135.7 million. Dustin is in fourth place with $145.9 million. Chris is in third place with $396.5 million. Andrew is in second place with $545.3 million. And in first place is Jason with $695.1 million.
Damn.
Jason still has 2 movies to come out, the Meg 2, Gran Turismo. Steven, for that game, you have Haunted Mansion and Harold and the Purple Crayon, plus Oppenheimer, which has already come out. Andrew still has White Bird and Last Voyage of the Demeter. Chris still has Barbie and Terrifier. Dustin has a lot of movies still to come out. He still has Strays, They Listen, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Talk to Me, and Blue Beetle.
Yeah, he could make a comeback. Yeah, he could. It's going to be interesting on that one too. I have no shot in hell. Oppenheimer is going to
You're
help
like
me a
me
lot.
on that one.
Huh?
You're like me on that game.
I am. I'm playing Tina's game.
No hope. So
That's funny. All right, so what we're doing tonight is we're going to do a full sort of discussion and breakdown of the Barbie movie. Um, Spoiler alert, our scores between the three of us, Zach and I think are pretty close score-wise. Tina and Nico are radically different than us. Maybe Nico will get calmed down where he can pop in, at least have a comment, I hope. But
I haven't heard a cry, so maybe.
Yeah, if he can pop in and share a comment here or there, that would be great. So let's start talking about Barbie. And this is a complete review and also spoiler filled. So if you haven't seen it, you may want to just come back later and listen to this review, because that is something you may want to avoid, the spoilers. So Barbie is basically a fantasy film about Barbie living in the Barbie world, having her little Barbie life in her dream house with her
stereotypical friends. Barbie.
Yeah. Well, what we know Barbie to be, pretty much.
Yes.
Until one day she questions her own mortality, and this is what we see in the trailer. And she finds out from the weird Barbie or whatever that she has to go out into the real world
to find the person,
the child, quote child, that's playing with her and having bad feelings, and help said child. And that's kind of the core part of the story. Now, I think what I would like to do is start with as many comments from Tina, and then if Nico pops in as possible, because
raise it up so we can shoot it the fuck down.
Well, I mean, it would be better because I would love to hear something that might change my feeling about it. So that's what I'm hoping for, because the majority, well, currently, let's see. I'm just curious. Hang on, I'm looking. I just want to see what the current tomato score is. It's at 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Wow. So that I question, my score is definitely not that. So I'm going to question what we're missing. So Tina, why don't you give us your initial thoughts about the movie?
All right. So where to begin? All in all, this is a really wholesome message. Not wholesome, that's an incorrect word. Hold on. Important message for mothers, daughters, for anyone who has had that struggle of being a woman. I think it all caps with American Ferrera's speech when she's just letting out her frustrations because Barbie's on a heap in the floor crying, where we have to be this, but we can't be that, but we have to do this, but we can't do that. And all these contradictory feelings that every single woman has had in her life, I guarantee you. And just the way that Barbie transitions from a happy-go-lucky, everything's perfect, feminism save the world viewpoint to what pretty much every woman has felt at some point in their lifetime, with the insecurities, the emotions that they're feeling, the anxiety, the threatening, the violence against women, just in skating down the sidewalk, to then having these workarounds where it's, oh, well, we'll go back to Barbie land and everything's perfect and I'll show you, and everything's drastically different because of Ken and his journey, which is in itself a massive point for me, I'll get into later. It just, the way that it fluctuates between what I call fake feminism to patriarchy to toxic patriarchy, which toxic patriarchy, tomato.
Yeah.
To trying to make it better for everyone involved. I think it's a fascinating journey and fascinating experiment that they tried to do. The red herring that they gave us in the trailers of the executives being the villains, I think really paid off when she comes back to Barbie Land and everything is different. And the Kens have taken over, and all the Barbies who are presidents and doctors and Nobel laureates and all this stuff are now maids and basically playthings for the Kens. And it's all because Ken viewed himself as valued in a patriarchal society, whereas in Barbie Land, he was not. And the struggles he's dealing with, but then the nuances of, well, Barbie isn't required to love him. Barbie isn't required to be his girlfriend. She's not required to have these feelings for him that he obviously has for her. And he ends up taking that out in some of the most childish ways that you can imagine. And just the nuance of that, where she at the end apologizes for his behavior, it feels very realistic to like any girl who's had to apologize for a guy, even though it's not their fucking fault.
Wait, when did she apologize for his behavior?
When Ken was crying and like at the very end when, the vote passed through and Ken's crying and whatnot, and she goes, I'm sorry I can't love you like that, and I'm sorry that I caused you to do this, and it's like, no. And he goes, it's okay, I gotta find me. It's like, yeah, you gotta find you, because Barbie doesn't have to do shit.
But was she apologizing for his behavior at that point, or apologizing that she couldn't give him or be what he wanted her to be?
That's what I picked up.
Yeah.
I picked up on it as, because I guess just based on my own experiences, you guys wouldn't have this experience because of being guys, but I've had to apologize. Sorry, I can't be what you want me to be. It's like, I shouldn't have to apologize for being me at all. You should realize, Ken should realize that, hey, I've put Barbie on this pedestal, in this box per se, that she gave no indications that she wanted to be in.
So this is interesting. This is what I was hoping to hear, because this is
that I've experienced in life. So.
This is complicated because, and I see exactly what you're saying.
It's very complicated. I fucking loved Ken as a character.
And I'm going to get to I have a point about that later, but I like this part because I think this is one of the few parts in the movie where there is room for kind of discussion. Because I see where you're coming from, but to me, when she apologized to him like that, and your example also is if someone's apologizing to me, we've all been in this kind of situation before, where a person, has apologized to us for not being able to be what we need. I don't feel like that person, for me in that particular situation, I've never felt like that person was apologizing for being who they are, or apologizing for my own behavior. They're apologizing for the situation not being what it would be good for both of us. That's always the way I've taken it. I've never taken it.
I'll point out the key difference that you said, though. You said, apologize that I can't be what you need. Barbie apologized for not being able to be what Ken wanted. So
yeah, and I would say the same thing, though. I would feel the same way, No, I think I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I just think this is interesting.
Everything's in my brain and I'm trying to get it out here to where it's not a jumbled mess. But at no point did Barbie give Ken any hopes of pursuing a relationship or anything like that. So he wanted a relationship with Barbie, but it's not what he needed. And he didn't know what he needed. He only knew what he wanted. Ken's very much each Barbie and Ken are both going through in this movie. They're both basically experiencing boyhood to womanhood, or boyhood to manhood, girlhood to womanhood. And it's so interesting to see it all because Ken, oh my God, I need to go into Ken. I love him as a character because it is so complex. Ken starts off being, perfect boy toy for Barbie, and you know, you can tell he's frustrated because he's not getting the attention from Barbie. And as soon as they're in the real world, he's starting to get attention from other people that he feels valued, he feels seen, he feels heard, and he gets basically drunk off of that. And so he starts developing into the manhood portion in the way that a lot of society has groomed men into going into that route of, you know, I think the Century City is like, well, you need an MBA, you need a degree, you need this and this. And he goes, wow, so patriarchy is not actually doing too well, is it? And the guy goes, it is, but we have to be a bit more quiet about it, or we have to, it's a bit more secretive now, or better at hiding it. And it's like, well, before, Ken didn't know anything about patriarchy. He thought it was about horses. And he admits later on in the movie, it's like, well, if I lost interest when I found out it wasn't about horses, so he doesn't really care about patriarchy in the Barbie world per se. And so you get this feeling that all Ken really wants to do is be heard, be seen, be valued, which is what anybody really wants. Anybody really needs is to have that sense of belonging. But at the same time, he gets back at Barbie in some of the most childish ways that are just mean, like taking her dream house, taking her her clothes, not clothes, but taking her dream house, taking all of her friends and brainwashing them, and purposefully making her feel like shit. In the scene where he's like, oh, it's boys' night, and she gets like really upset. She's like, Ken, we need to talk about what's going on. And he's like, no, it's boys' night. I'll see you later. I don't want to be around you. And, you know, she's starting to cry and whatnot. And he turns to her and he goes, how does it feel? That right there implies malicious intent.
Well,
that's
because
like my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, because it's bookended to when she said it was girls' night, when he wanted to hang with her.
Yeah.
It's bookended.
And the thing is, Barbie said that because that's what she's used to. That's Barbie's schedule of it's always girls' night, blah, blah, blah.
Well, but now you're excusing hers, though.
No,
you're excusing
it. Let me finish.
Okay.
Because that's from start of time to end of time. That's how the Barbies lived. It's always girls' night. She never really viewed Ken in that way, so she never really thought that there was going to be a time when they were going to be intimate because they don't have genitalia. But Ken did it. When he did that, he was trying to, you know, assert dominance over Barbie's like, you can't tell me what to do now because I'm Ken and I rule Barbie land / Kendom. But
yeah, Kendom, yeah.
He wanted to inflict the hurt that he felt when Barbie did it to him on her. Whereas with her, she didn't really know that she was inflicting that pain on him, which goes to Barbie's naivety. Just because Barbie herself is also flawed at recognizing social cues when it comes to that. But Barbie never really meant to hurt Ken because she didn't think she could hurt Ken in that way because she didn't see Ken in that way. Now, she did hurt Ken in that way because Ken saw her in that way. And yes, that was very harmful for Ken. But Ken, knowing that this is how she's going to feel and still making her feel that way on purpose, I feel like those two instances are different. Does that make sense?
Well, okay, so yeah, I think they're different, but at the same time, there was a part of, to me, when you're watching that, and it's interesting because you're making me think about it a little bit more, when her naivete was, I guess it was in play, and she was not unknowingly, you know, hurting him because he's trying so hard to get her attention.
Well, it gives him purpose. He literally doesn't have a purpose outside of it. Yeah.
And I also question, is it naivete or one of those things where it's a situation I don't want to deal with? You know, that's probably a different perspective, I guess, because when I look at that, I'm like, okay, maybe you could say it's naivete, but it's also I've been in those situations purposely where you've put the signals out and someone's purposely not reacting to them because they don't want to deal with that complexity in their relationship.
Well, I could definitely see where it could come off as like trying to avoid awkwardness, but at the same time, the scene where he's like, "Hey, I want to spend tonight. I want to spend the night. We're boyfriend girlfriend," and she's like, "To do what?" And she's like, that to me signals more naivety. If it was like, "Oh, I don't know, Ken, maybe not tonight." Like if she was finding more and more excuses, but she was genuinely questioning, "Oh, to do what? Like what are we gonna do?" That to me signals more naivety than avoidance. It's just, and it's not like, oh, Barbie just didn't like that Ken. She just didn't have any romantic feelings for anybody. She didn't have any concept of romance, really. So, which is one of the things I actually really liked about this movie is Barbie doesn't have romance. There's no romance. Except for that weaponized, can I say how much I loved the fact that they used weaponized incompetence to basically sabotage the Kens. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Some of it was a little too personal there.
Yeah, Zach felt attacked, as he should, because he does that fucking shit.
Yeah,
you haven't seen The Godfather?
Let me explain it to you.
I hate it because I just saw a mirror on the screen. I saw a fucking mirror and I was like, turn off the movie.
A lot of people have experience with people who use weaponized incompetence to their advantage. Like the stereotypical, wife doing all the work, and she's like, "Hey, honey, could you do the dishes?" And he unloads the dishwasher, or he doesn't pre-rinse them beforehand, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know how to do dishes." It's like a 30-year-old man should know how to do the dishes. The reason you don't know how to do the dishes is because you know that your wife will get fed up enough to be like, "I would have to do the dishes after he did the dishes, so I might as well just do the dishes in the first place."
This is so funny. This is fascinating to me that this is what you take from those scenes. It's fast. I love it. I'm fascinated by this. But this I will lean into something that I think is a core fucking problem with this movie, and it's like what you're talking about. That is it naivete? Is it more than that? Is it less than that? Is the tone of this movie at its core is fucked.
It's
because
all over the place.
You think we're going to go into these complexities and we can have these real discussions, and then it goes full on baby because it's still Barbies, and then it comes back to dick jokes, and then it goes back to baby.
Yeah,
it's like the tone.
Big question I had throughout the
I will
whole
say
film.
that is prevalent throughout the film. Yeah.
Well, yeah. It was. I kept questioning, who is this movie for?
Yeah,
because for 10 minutes we'll play to children, and then we'll turn right around and say, "Hey, motherfuckers!" It's like, is this for adults or is this for kids?
Yeah. So when you get to these complex discussions, it feels like sometimes in this movie, rather than go really deep into them, it's like, time for a Barbie joke. Let's make a kid's joke. Let's do a baby joke.
We're making this for 6-year-olds.
It's like you get hit by a truck, and I'm like,
am I supposed to take this seriously or not?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons, honestly, Tina, that I deducted a point off my score right away for that, because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Are we having real discussions and doing something complex and interesting, or are we just making dick jokes, or are we doing Barbie baby time?
The way they could have gotten away with that is all the Barbies just kid friendly-ish, whatever, and have the people in the real world making those dick jokes. That would mean
accurate. You have a set of rules that you establish, unlike this film, which doesn't establish the rules of the world.
That's how they could have balanced that, but they didn't.
That gets to another core issue that Zach and I both had. So they established Barbie world as Barbie world, and it's got its fantasy world tropes, its tools, and then we go to real world, and they go to some thought to let you know this is the real world.
This is reality. This is the
But then in the real
we
world,
exist in.
some dumbass shit happens, and it's done just for jokes, and it's like going against the rules of what's the real world. One of the things that got me was when Barbie goes for, running from them, and the executives are chasing her, and they get to the turnstiles and they just can't step across.
Well, yeah, because
I'm
the movie suddenly goes into Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not the real world. That we're back in Barbie world now, but we're still in the real world.
That would play right at home in Barbie world.
That was playing by Barbie Land rules.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what
and
it was.
and it's so inconsistent. And when you're trying to like,
as a viewer, how am I supposed to feel here? It's like you need to thoroughly establish the tone and setting of your location so that I can invest in it. And if you're betraying the rules, then I'm not going to sit there and get invested. I'm sorry, I'm not.
It feels like then with no rules, then you can just do whatever you want. And
There's no consequences.
Sometimes this movie does do that. There's some small things in here that. So, I love what you said, Tina. I love the core message.
Yeah, like the message of the film,
movie.
I don't have an issue with.
But
this film is being berated by right-wing people, and I just want to put a disclaimer and say,
yeah,
we agree with the message.
We support the feminism. We are here for
fucking rewrite it, though, and don't have a scene where someone literally sits on a box and just relays the message.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Unfiltered. Well, fuck.
But then but then they step away from that a little bit for jokes. Like we're in, I'm kind of in that mode watching the movie. These are strong women. They do for themselves. I'm like, okay, this is it. Until they're on the car chase, and the kid is like, "Mom, how did you learn to drive like this?" Well, there was this guy once, like a dad joke, and I'm like, "Bitch, this is not the arc we were going on. All of a sudden, you did have a guy to teach you how to drive for real, for real."
Yeah.
It like set me out of the movie for a second. I'm like, wait, that's not the character we were developing. Even if that were true, I would think she wouldn't even say it to her daughter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because she's trying to come off as a strong woman. And I'm like, this is inconsistent. And the movie trips over itself just to make jokes. And I hate that. Because
some of them work.
Tina, you got me actually thinking about it a little more than I was. And I appreciate that fact. But it also makes me look at the things that diverted me from these thoughts. Because the script is so inconsistent.
Yeah, there definitely were some jokes that just didn't land, or like kind of took away from a scene. But all in all, I think one of the reasons I scored it as high as I did is being a new mom. And the line that Ruth gives to Barbie of a mother's job is to stand still so that her daughter can look back and see how far she came. Like,
or how far she's going. Yeah.
Yeah. And both Nico and Curtis, after Nico saw the movie, just turned to me and was like, yeah, that spoke straight to you. And I was like, yeah, that hurt. That like legitimately caused me to like take a breath. Like I gasped at that line. Hi, honey, can you go away?
But you want to know what's interesting? That line has been a source of a lot of conversation. That particular line has been interesting in how much conversation I've seen from it. And what I've been seeing is a generational difference. Like people like older millennials and Gen Xers are like, yeah, man, that's me. But younger moms are like, fuck you. I'm not done walking. I'll walk with my daughter. I'm not stopping nothing. And I respect that response. I'm like, yeah, you can support your child without stopping your own life.
I was about to say, that's kind of where I agree on that.
Yeah.
Even though I have no place in this.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So I agree. I'm not going to stop walking, but it made me take a look back at things my mom had done for me.
Okay.
And like, yeah, my mom totally stopped what she was doing in her life to raise me and my sister. And I would be half the woman I am without the strong females and mother figures in my life.
I mean,
well, then that plays into the whole generational thing I've seen with that line.
I mean, point of contention, I will say, I am not the target audience for this film.
Yeah.
I fully admit that, so I feel like there's a lot of dialogue in this film that, one, could have been rewritten, but two, doesn't work for me, and that's fine. Like, it can still be a line of dialogue, just rewrite it. But I still can't get over some bullshit in this film.
Yeah.
They're going to put her in the box.
Yeah.
So what happens if we put her in the box?
What's in the box?
Okay,
Yeah.
Tina. They're going to put her in the box. Why is this a bad thing?
I think because they're gonna like cold storage her or something.
Okay,
Really.
you are now writing the film.
Yeah, I know.
At
never
no
got the
point
answer.
do
We
they
never got the
ever
answer
explain
what
that.
happened to Skipper. So
I mean, they could. I've heard people say, well, they're going to take her back to Barbie Land. Oh, well, they're going to put her in cold storage. The film never
yeah,
goes, this is a threat.
Yeah.
It suggests it, but at no point does it go,
I-
if this happens, bad thing.
I think, and this is the problem. I think plot-wise, it does not
no, I
answer
think
the question.
It was 100% a gimmick.
But I do think plot-wise, and this is where the movie kind of bends and breaks itself over its message and forgets that it's got to tell a complete story also. Because the message of putting her back in the box is taking, a woman who's trying to be a strong feminist figure and putting her back in the patriarchy the way she's supposed to be.
That's fine.
And that I got. I believe that's what the point was. And the problem
you can
is,
be strong, but as long as you stay strong in the certain parameters we've set for.
well, I don't even think that. I think it's what you said. There's fake feminism, and putting her in the box is more like fake feminism. You're okay. You look like a feminist hero, but you're really just in the box that the men made for you.
Yeah.
So that's fake feminism. But
I will say there were some jokes that I had to point out to, not jokes per se, but like Easter eggs, I guess, that I had to point out to Nico. Like the fact that they put in, I call him cock ring Ken. Magic earring magic Ken.
mhm.
Because the reason he got discontinued was because he was very obviously gay, and everyone was alluding to the fact that his necklace, which was supposed to be an earring, was actually a cock ring. The fact that they put him and Sugar Daddy Ken in was fantastic. To the fact, did you guys notice when Barbie went up to the girls at school what their names were?
No.
I only noticed it because I saw a TikTok about it. I did not
Sasha,
notice it in the movie.
Yasmin, Chloe, and Jade, which are the names of the original Brat dolls, which were created when a former Mattel employee decided to go out and make his own fortune.
So let me ask another question here. So we have the executives standing in front of the Warner Brothers Discovery building. That wasn't distracting at all. I'm sorry. That was annoying.
Yeah, thanks, Matrix Part 4.
Our corporate overlords, Warner Brothers, I didn't see a Sony building or anything else in there. I'm just saying. So they're chasing after Barbie, and they're like, oh, fuck, she's going back to Barbie World. Wouldn't you want that?
Isn't that what they want?
Yeah.
Then why are they chasing after her?
Let her go?
See, I feel like, I have no proof, but I feel
Not
like
only
there was
that,
a
but it could be
plot.
because she's taking humans with her.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like there was this subplot where if humans go over to Barbie World, they will then be transformed into whatever they are. Because we see the exact same thing essentially happen when Barbie decides to live in real world. If they decide to live in Barbie World, would they suddenly, oh God, this would be terrible
more
for humankind
genitalia.
or something like that. I feel like that just got dropped because I'm like, well, why the fuck do they care?
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think is going to be interesting moving forward. I think a lot of people, and I'm not saying this about you, Tina, but I'm thinking a lot of people are giving this movie super high scores for a couple of reasons.
Well, it's
Wait,
message.
well,
and
let me finish.
Subtext.
One is the positive message that it does have.
Yeah.
Two, people who really grew up and love Barbies and get the in jokes that you're referencing, the Easter eggs, that they give no context for the rest of us.
Yep.
And I can't be mad at that because Marvel's done it for 15 years. If you don't know a lot of comic books, you miss things that are in the background. So it's fine. That's fine. I didn't get it.
He hadn't
What?
watched. Nico even said if he hadn't watched the toys we grew up with, he wouldn't have known about the tax evasion jokes and anything like that regarding Ruth Handler.
Yeah, I did know.
Yeah, I would. Those things would have worked better and been funnier if we would have gotten some context, a little context for the rest of us, because they took the Easter egg out of it when they gave her a second appearance in the movie.
Yeah, it was like she just shows the fuck up in this random thing and then just fucking appears. And
on the second appearance, they finally explain kind of who she is.
But why is she down there? And they try to go, oh yeah, she's
a ghost.
She's a what?
Yeah, they said that she's a ghost or something.
Literal ghost.
Yeah. On the something floor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a line.
That to me was like, I don't know. That felt like some suit stepped in the room and went, "Wait, shit, we didn't explain it. Give something to say for Will Ferrell to explain it."
Yeah, and I also honestly thought, side note from the messaging and all that stuff, I thought Will Ferrell was not good in this movie.
No,
I thought he was unneeded. Like, Nico has this point, since he's not here, I'll go into his point of, you get this line from Will Ferrell of like, I didn't get into this business to make boy toys, I got into it to make girls' dreams come true. And he's like, oh, like, that's like the wholesomest thing that, could be said by a company executive. And then his entire character is destroyed at the end of the film when American Ferrera says, hey, how about we do ordinary Barbie, And he's like, that's a terrible idea. And then somebody's like, oh, but it would sell. That's a great idea. It's like, that right there destroys his whole character, like, from line to line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think you're right. I think you could have done this movie without him. He could have just not been in this movie and it would have still been the same. You're right.
I wasn't a fan of the car commercial that appeared in the middle of the film. Did you notice that?
The car commercial?
Yeah, there was a car commercial for the 2023 Kia whatever car that she jumps in. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but there's some shots of them driving along. I'm like, you put that in a car commercial and you can't tell the difference.
That doesn't bother me because I see it all the time.
It was weird.
I see it all the time. That's just product placement. It doesn't really bother me.
It didn't feel like, I'm sorry, but it almost didn't feel like there were any stakes.
No, there definitely didn't feel like stakes.
Honestly, they didn't even need to pit the Kens against each other, because theoretically there's a Barbie for every Ken, there's a Ken for every Barbie, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So they
I don't know.
saved all the brainwashed Barbies. So at least the vote would be 50-50. And then you have at least two Kens plus Alan who would have voted in favor of the Barbies maintaining control of Barbie Land. They didn't really need to pit the Kens against each other unless they needed a 2/3 majority, which I'm not sure how Barbie Congress works. But
again, rules.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I will say Alan was fucking great. I fucking loved Alan.
He was there.
Yeah, see, I think Alan is better if you have context, if you understand that.
I don't get it.
Yeah, we don't get it. We don't get it. So I was like, what is he doing exactly?
He's just there.
Yeah.
To me. That's how I see that character. He's there.
So, and I saw a breakdown that really stuck with me on this story, and I'll recite it to you guys and you can respond. So Barbie is living in Barbie world, perfectly happy, right? Then she questions her reality, goes to the real world, discovers patriarchy. Ooh, that's bad. So I want to go home. She goes home, patriarchy there. She fixes Barbie Land, makes it how she liked it before. Leaves Barbie Land to go back to real world, where patriarchy bad. Does she go back to fix the patriarchy there? No, she goes back to real world to be a normal person. So the overall just message of that really is, what are you trying for? You're trying for complacency. Because she's being complacent at the end of the movie. She's just existing.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I'm like, well, fuck me. I mean, that's kind of how I felt about it.
Yeah, I don't know, and just never felt invested. Like I didn't care. Things were just happening. It felt like, I don't know, SNL sketches from time to time.
Well, that too. I have a thought on that one too.
Now, let me just turn around real quick and say a couple positives, because I don't want to sit here dogging the whole time.
Yeah, we both gave it like a 2.5 out of 5.
Like a 5, yeah. Production design, outstanding. Yeah. I loved every single little piece of like costume design
inside the Barbie world.
I loved it. It was great.
It was beautiful.
I want to inspect everything.
I want bonus features on that Blu-ray so I can look at the making of that stuff.
Yes.
I want to get Tina's reaction to that timeline. I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I feel like, so here's my timeline, how I feel. Barbie Land is women first, men second.
Yeah.
Real world patriarchy is men first, women second and a half.
Yeah.
Ken patriarchy is men first, women third.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they try to get it back, it's women first, men two and a half. So it's kind of an inverse because they said that the Kens who wanted to be part of the Barbie conquest, maybe they'll have just as much power as women in the real world.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
So,
maybe just fuck them.
Well, let her finish.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I feel like that timeline was.
But then she leaves
Barbie,
to go back to the real
then
world.
she leaves to go back to the real world, and I think Barbie didn't make it so much because that's where she feels like politically that she would be the happiest. I think she, with the vision that Ruth gave her of motherhood and whatnot, she wanted to try for that happiness, which is something she hadn't experienced before and something she felt the patriarchy would be worth enduring.
I didn't get anything political about it.
But see, you're fully writing the end of the movie by saying that because it's not implied for her. All it is her. The only thing I got that's really written there is, ooh, I can go to the real world and live and die.
Yeah.
That's it, which wasn't thematically important throughout the entirety of the movie till the last 5 minutes. So
there's a lot of Twilight has this problem where it feels like there's a lot of projection of the viewer onto the characters in this movie.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, on the page, this movie's a failure. I'm sorry.
It is.
I'm sorry. This if I got this script, I'd be like, you need to go back and work on this. Because I'm having to fill... You have such huge holes in your house. You need to fill them with insulation. I mean, rain's going to come in at the moment it's, some clouds form. And it's going to ruin your fucking house. I get your message. Your floor plan is great to your house. But your walls have holes in them.
Yeah, the story doesn't have stakes. And the theming is inconsistent. Yes. Like that last 5 minutes makes no sense that she leaves Barbie Land. It's fine for her to leave, but give me the reasons.
No, don't think about it. It's pink.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I want to touch on the speech for a minute that you referenced, Tina. I think that speech is important. It's an important message.
Yes.
But we've heard, and I'm trying to place it, I've heard almost that exact speech in other movies like this. I think it would have been more impactful if they had worked that idea into the movie organically instead of saying, "What? Stop for a second, I got to say something." Which is what it does. The movie stops,
for
she stands up,
2 minutes.
They drop a spotlight on her, and she speaks the speech. And I'm like, it's a good speech, but I wish it was organically in the movie. I love social commentary when you're getting it and not realizing it until later. Like when you watch my favorite social commentary of all time, when you watch George Romero's Dawn of the Dead,
I mean,
you're watching a zombie movie, and then a week later, you're like, shit, that was all about consumerism.
Yes.
And you have that light bulb, and it's like, and young people that see it get the light bulb a whole lot faster, because the older we get, the more set in our ways we are, the more siloed our vision is. So you can imagine seeing that movie at like 15, 16, you're watching the blood and the guts, and then you watch it 3 or 4 more times because you love it, and you're like, fuck, this is all about consumerism.
Yeah, when I watched Dawn of the Dead the first time and when I watched Dawn of the Dead last October were two very different viewing experiences.
Like, why are these zombies fucking shopping? Well, okay, that's a good question. Let's answer it. But this movie, it has it built in. Like Tina, you pointed out some really cool stuff that I hadn't put as much thought to, but then it doesn't. It just stops it, and the message is the nail, and I'm the hammer, baby, and we're gonna punch it in.
I would put that speech on the same par level as Godzilla King of the Monsters when the movie literally stops and says its speech, where it's just, we need to do a genocide of humans. It's like that level dumb to where it's like, I get this, but holy fuck, movie.
But can you imagine if the messaging of that speech, because like I said, it's important, and I do think there's still some people who don't realize that, was just happening to her in the real world. Barbie comes into the real world, and these situations that are talked about in that speech just fucking start happening to her. And she, as a Barbie, wouldn't know how to react.
yeah, when her and Ken are rollerblading down, you can boil it down to this scene right here. When they're rollerblading down, having just crossed the last barrier into the real world, Ken's like, "Oh wow, or Barbie's like, they're staring at me," and Ken's like, "Yeah, they're staring at me too." And you can tell that she feels it differently than he does, and then they articulate that where she feels, and she says it. She goes, "I don't know. No, it's for me. It's very violent." And you can right off the bat, any female who's walked down the street with any other kind of clothing that would normally be rollerblading, her outfit was perfectly fine. Malibu Beach, perfectly fine. It wasn't like women have skated in bikinis and whatnot.
But they stand out because it's neon tacky.
Yeah, but it's like any kind of clothes that you wear, it doesn't matter. If you're a woman, especially with that kind of a figure, you're going to have that intense feeling of a predator being around.
Well, this is also what I think is interesting about that scene. And I actually remember appreciating that scene in the movie. It's not just about the neon clothing. Both of them are being appreciated for being good looking. And what that scene does say is, as a guy, we like it.
Well, because Ken's getting attention. That's the one thing he likes.
But as a girl, it's like everybody's looking at me and it's intense. It's a different... I remember thinking that scene was okay. I appreciated showing that sort of split between the two. And I know you're like, it's about Ken, because for Ken, it's because he never gets attention anywhere else. And that's there, but that's actually properly used as a plot tool to send the message home. It says, hey, dudes don't mind it as much. We don't mind it. If a girl wants to look at us, we dig it. But if a guy is checking out a girl, they feel uncomfortable. And I appreciate that. And that's the problem. That's why this movie's a 2.5 out of 5. Because for every scene like that I think works,
there's like two or three that just miss.
Yeah. Outside of the social commentary that's in the movie, the main crux of the movie is the mom.
Oh, yeah.
Is the mom is having a bad time.
She's having a midlife crisis.
So what she does is goes and plays with her daughter's Barbies and draws pictures.
Sure.
I call kind of bullshit on that. It doesn't read well. It doesn't make sense. It's just there.
It doesn't feel
real.
Set up.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real. And then later, it's like the daughter didn't know that she was doing this. But then later, the daughter's like, "Your art is good." I'm like, when did you see it?
Did you see the artwork?
I was sitting in the theater, my mouth dropped. I'm like, when did you see it? Because I thought in the first of the movie you didn't know that your mom was playing with your toys and drawing pictures. So that's the sort of the spark that starts the entire movie. And to me, it's dumb. It just doesn't work. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'll take it.
Well, I don't know if maybe you and I saw different scenes or whatnot, but when Barbie's having the visions of who she needs to go find, and then she realizes it's the adults, and she sees it from the adults' perspective.
Yeah.
I didn't really take it that America Ferrera was having a midlife crisis, more so a disconnect from her daughter.
Yeah, no, I didn't. That's a Zach thing. I didn't see a midlife crisis. I just knew she was upset and sad.
I saw a midlife crisis.
To me, playing with the dolls that her and her daughter, as you see in the memories, would play with together, she's trying to reflect back on times when she was close with her daughter. That's what I took from those memories and why she started playing with Barbies again. And for the drawings, there's one memory where a little girl comes out while the mom is drawing and little girl sits in her lap. She could have seen the drawings then, not particularly the existential crisis Barbie, the cellulite Barbie, but like her mother's drawings, just at least assessing her skill.
What, 12 years previously?
Yeah, this is a girl as little in those memories.
I remember some of the stuff my mom did when I was that age. Like, memories.
Okay, but again, this is a situation where you're saying, the minute you say could have, that tells me that it wasn't defined in the script. It could have happened this way. Maybe it happened this way. But did it? I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, you can't say that, like, there's absolutely nothing when the mom was drawing when the kid came out. and the kid sat in her lap, and
Hey.
they cuddled for a bit.
Hey, I got a great idea.
Okay, but wait.
Let's shoot a scene where they're sitting at the lunch table and her friends make fun of her. Oh, fuck, my mom's drawing's gotten here again.
Well, yeah. It just to me it's part and parcel with everything needed more fleshing out.
Yeah. At 2 hours at length. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. This did not need to be over 95 minutes.
There was something missing in the mom-daughter relationship where I just don't buy that mom.
She turns and goes from I fucking hate my mom to I love my mom.
I love you. That. Yeah, like in a second.
I just didn't really feel like
I just don't buy that.
okay.
I know a lot of moms. I just don't buy them playing Barbies without their kid with them. It just doesn't work for me. I just don't see it, you know?
Maybe we're not the target audience, but
I guess, but I'm like,
I just need citations here.
Yeah, I need more meat to get me there because I just wasn't there. And the way the daughter does turn on a dime is like jolting.
I will say that's a bit unrealistic, yeah, especially for the age that the daughter is. Yeah.
All of a sudden,
I'm
dragging Tina down to a 3.5.
No, if the daughter flipped at the tail end, like an arc, like a character arc, like we have a character that doesn't like her mom, goes through a couple things, and at the end likes her mom. You know, at the end of the story, you know, that could have been something.
Could have been.
Instead, I don't know, got to spin on a dime and just went right back.
Yeah. So here's the last thing for me. The last big thing that stood out is the comedy.
Helen Mirren's narrative lines were funny.
Helen Mirren had some of the funniest lines in the movie.
Yep.
And you don't even see her. But the last act...
I love the I feel ugly and weird. Author's note. Don't ask Margot Robbie if this is the point you want to make.
Yeah, that's one of the best lines in the movie. That did crack me up.
My favorite one was at the very beginning where they're like, and for a time, everyone loved dolls. And then they wanted Barbies. Kids always wanted to play mommy. It's, I don't know, go ask your mom, I guess.
Yeah, that was
fucking funny.
I am so glad that they cut that out in the trailers and didn't ruin that line.
Dude, if that was in the trailers, which, by the way, a lot of the jokes were in the trailers.
A lot of the jokes were in the trailers. Also, the humor in the movie, for me, in the last act was just repeated.
Yes.
Like the gag in the last 30 minutes of the movie was just the same jokes over and over again pretty much. And I'm like, this is when it starts to feel like an SNL skit that's gone on too long. I'm like, you don't have any new jokes. The jokes are the same. They're moving forward, just making them over and over again. And that stuff kind of got long in the tooth for me.
Full disclosure, we both had headaches.
Yeah.
During this movie.
It's true. And it's kind of sad to me that this is a Barbie movie. My opinion. It's a Barbie movie about Barbie, kind of. I mean, not kind of, is. And Ken is the most complex character in the movie.
Yes, because Ken has a character arc.
Barbie, I feel like he stole the movie from her in a lot of spaces. And it honestly bothered me because I was in it for Barbie. But
No, he has an actual character arc.
He has
goes
the arc.
From a starting point and an ending point, and they are drastically different. Barbie has a starting point, and she goes on a journey, but then goes essentially almost back to her starting
where she started, and then has a weird coda of, I want to go to the real world so I can die.
Yeah.
I mean, what is your feeling about that, Tina?
I mean, I told you before, like, Ken was probably the most nuanced character of the entire movie, and I actually he's the fact that Ken is the most complicated. Like, I'm really glad the trailers didn't leak or allude to that twist.
Yeah, I'm glad about that too.
Ken's being the villain. So yeah, I will say, for a Barbie movie, the fact that Ken's the one that has the most growth is a bit weird. But yeah, Barbie, I wouldn't say she didn't grow as much. Like, she didn't grow nearly as much as Ken. But for me, character growth also has to deal with how they think. And her thinking does drastically change from the beginning of the movie, where it's very self-centered, very naive, very not thinking past today, to thinking more of what she wants in her future.
That's a fair point. It's a fair point. So let's talk about some of the meat, like the building blocks of the movie. Casting. I thought Margot Robbie is probably the only person who can play Barbie right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That said, I don't feel like she had that much to do acting wise. I think she was pretty consistent with her acting across it. Like, she didn't get a lot of variety of things to do.
Filmmakers note, casting Margot Robbie might not be the best idea. Which is a haha funny joke. But I don't know, if you're writing that in your script, you might want to, that's your that's the intrusive thoughts coming out and going.
Probably for casting, I didn't really like the, oh hey, you did a song for the movie, let's make you a mermaid, or here's this person as a Barbie, here's this person as
I forgot John Cena is in this movie for no reason.
Yeah, John Cena is the mermaid Barbie. Dua Lipa, who did some of the songs, is the mermaid. He's a mermaid Ken. She's a mermaid Barbie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan Gosling was great.
Do you think they added his song just so they can be nominated for an Oscar and have him perform it at the Oscars?
That's pretty funny. I think the song was funny, but it went way too long.
Yeah.
It was too much.
My brother ordered the I Am Knuff hoodie.
That's funny.
Like, immediately after the movie.
And then everybody else just sort of blends. I think Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling are there. They have their impact. I think Margot Robbie is good in the movie. I just think she doesn't get a lot of opportunity to do different things. We know she's a great actor. We've seen her do amazing stuff.
It's another fucking movie where Margot Robbie shows up and she's doing her best, and the writers are like, I don't know, whatever. Like, seriously, Birds of Prey, fucking Suicide Squad. Like, she's a good actress.
We just saw her in Babylon, okay?
Oh shit, that is right. Yeah, okay.
And
I would take that back.
Yeah,
There's one. There's one where she fucking blew it away with the good writing.
But I think Ryan Gosling is great. Margot Robbie is good. Will Ferrell is fucking terrible.
I mean, you even forgot about the intern guy that was following them half the film, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I don't even remember his face.
Yeah. And I think
Shang-Chi shows up and is like, hi.
Yeah, he's
there.
Wait, none of them do enough to really care.
No.
And then the mom and the daughter, I think,
bland.
Were kind of bland. Yeah. And I think that's why I didn't buy the relationship. I didn't feel chemistry between the two of them in that.
What did you think about Weird Barbie?
I found it funny when she hissed.
Yeah, that was a funny scene. I like her. I think she's funny. I just haven't seen her anything I really like in a while. And I think she was fine in this.
I don't feel like she had much to do.
Yeah, there just wasn't much for her to do.
She was a quest giver, and then...
Yeah, she was basically the, I'm going to give you a lot of lore and folklore, and I'm the one who's going to explain to you what you need to do, because it'd be weird if a random other Barbie knew.
I also think she's represents a missed opportunity for some really good comedy in this movie, because she's the only Barbie who is visually affected by how she's treated.
Yeah, and
imagine if all the Barbies, if main Barbie, Margot Robbie's Barbie, woke up randomly with pink hair, or woke up you would cut
color change
between two scenes. Her hair is in a bun or a ponytail because she's getting affected by who's playing with her. But you only see it in Weird Barbie. And it's this world building thing that's just weird. Okay.
Again, rules.
Yeah. It could have been funny, though. It could have been opportunities for really, like, all of a sudden, from one scene to the next, their costume is different. It would be hilarious, and they just didn't do it. And also, they kind of fucked up the rules of the world because it works for some, but not the others. You know?
You're telling me everyone else in Barbieville land is 100% fine?
Well, okay. So my interpretation of that is each one of these dolls is representative of everybody who's playing with them. So every one doesn't have to be weird. You know what I mean? All the Barbies that are out there having weird shit done to them are represented by this one weird Barbie. But all the other ones that are out there too are getting. My sister used to do all kinds of crazy stuff with her Barbie. She would put, like I said, change their hair, put makeup on them, or change their clothes.
There needs to be a horror movie Barbie where you can tell like her face has been melted.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, because the brother did something to that Barbie.
But they don't pay attention to it. It's just in the background. Someone puts on fire.
Wait, what did you say, Tina?
Or the pyromaniac little girl did something to the Barbie.
Yeah. But that falls into kind of a weird decision world building wise.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Tina, I hope you didn't feel ganged up on too much.
Nah.
Because I'm going to say this, you actually did a really good job of making me think a little bit more about the movie, and that's what I was hoping.
It's easily Greta Gerwig's worst film.
It's Greta Gerwig's worst film, for sure.
You cannot convince me otherwise.
Okay, wait. If you ask me to watch this one or Little Women,
I would take away more from Little Women, though.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things. That's one of the movies that I feel like America's speech was transplanted from. I wouldn't say copied because it's Greta Gerwig's film, but like Florence Pugh's whole speech of like, I'm a burden on my family, whereas you as a man are blah blah blah, and
yeah, that's a good scene because it's well written and because the characters have a natural way of coming to that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm
instead
saying
of somebody
America's speech is transplanted from that just as a monologue as opposed to dialogue.
Also, you have the setting of the 1800s.
Yeah, that helps. Greta Gerwig's best movie is still Lady Bird.
Yeah.
And I'm still waiting for another one of those because that movie's so good. It's so good. All things considered, I will say I like this movie a little better in some parts after hearing Tina's perspective. It's still a 2.5 out of 5 for me, though.
Yeah, no, I'm unchanged. And no, I don't hate it because it's quote-unquote woke.
Yeah.
I hate it because the fucking script needs, like, 2 more passes, man.
I will say, honestly, though, the fact that, like, these ridiculous...
I enjoy the physical props of the transitional scenes.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the shit out of that.
The more these right-wing idiots are coming out against the movie, the more I want to, like, support it, because fuck that.
Yeah, but I've seen the film, and I'm like, it's not that good.
Yeah.
But I got my money.
And the one thing that Zach and I both came to us immediately is this sort of surreal style of comedy. If you like this movie,
like lean into that.
Well,
go like Barb and Star.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. If you like this movie and you want to see it consistently fantastic from beginning to end, you got to watch Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. It's so fucking good.
Like, I wanted this to kind of be just Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, which is fabulous and fun and hilarious and weird and consistently toned. And I went home and ordered Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar.
Tina, you'll think this is funny. I was on a TikTok live talking a little bit, like loosely, because we're not talking about stuff over there too much movie-wise. Yeah. But there's one TikToker that saw the movie before the rest of us because it came out there first, weirdly. And I had mentioned that I was going, and her response to me was, "Be warned, this movie is for the girls and the gays."
Dude, do you know how many gay movies we've seen or girl movies we've seen?
I was going to say...
I've seen some gay ass shit.
I love it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm the one who went to see Bros first. I didn't like it,
dude,
but I tried.
We went and saw a movie where, like, the film climaxes literally with someone getting a hand job for, like, 5 minutes.
That's right.
Like, and we're just sitting there like, all right.
Like, yeah, okay. All right.
Like, you think we're like, oh no, oh geez.
Well, no, I think she was just saying that it's it's got a great message for women, and it's also very fabulous for her gay friends. And she's right about that.
I mean,
Nathan dressed all in pink for it and had a great time and loved it.
Oh, when we were at the theater, there were tons of people dressed in Barbenheimer shirts. I survived Barbenheimer 2023, which I kind of wish I had.
I kind of want that. Are you talking about the one that's split, that's pink on one side and gray on the other?
I mean, any of them that just said I survived, because we did.
Yeah, Zach and I did it. All right,
because we decided.
Nico wouldn't let me see both back to back, so.
Yeah, because that's like 5 straight hours of being in the movies.
For solo baby time.
Boy, I'll tell you, the jump between the end of Oppenheimer and the start of Barbie was like, we got 10 minutes, boy.
Yeah, because Oppenheimer started a little bit late.
Yep.
And we were like, holy shit, we've got to run.
Well, it also had no trailers, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
Insidious started late for me. It was about 10 minutes late. Yeah, Insidious started late for me. It was a 6:05 showing. The trailers didn't start until around 6:15.
So for ours, what happened was a little inside baseball here, but we drive up to the theater, and the 10:45 a.m. screening of Oppenheimer, like the whole theater, the fire alarm went off. And I had a friend at that screening. They said the movie was great until the last 15 minutes, the fire alarm went off.
Oh, man.
So imagine the last 15 minutes of that, and a fire alarm goes off. I'd be
devastated.
So when it comes time for our screening, I mean, they were like, what, 10 minutes late?
Yeah.
They literally had to thread the film and double check it, and it was fascinating to see. I mean,
we'll probably talk about this next week.
I know.
Too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's no trailers.
Yeah.
On a 15x70 print, so it just starts.
Yep. Thank God. Because we were so close trying to get into Barbie.
Which, by the way, that needs to happen more.
I agree.
Give me like one trailer and then just start.
I'm already sick of seeing some of these trailers for movies that haven't come out yet, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm already done with the movie.
Give me like 1 or 2. Don't give me like 8.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
I will say, there was, I don't know if did you guys get this trailer for Barbie, the opening to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer where it's the action figures and the Barbies up top? Did you guys get that?
No, we didn't get that.
Nico and I told him he cannot miss the Turtles trailer because it starts off with Barbies, like plastic Barbies in a pool. Like Ken's are in the pool, Barbies are going off for day at work. Like somebody's literally just playing with Barbies. And then it goes down to the tunnels, and then it's turtle figures from like the 90s. You're like, what are they doing up there? I don't know. It looks like they're going off to work, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes into the Turtles trailer. And I was like, he's going to enjoy the fuck out of that opening for that trailer.
Awesome.
I was about to say, we didn't get that.
Yeah, I would love to have seen that one, actually. But no, we didn't get that. In fact, I think our trailers were just so amazing that I don't even remember anything.
I remember walking. So I went and got a Coke because because Oppenheimer's 3 hours, and I dehydrated myself so I didn't have to pee
during it. Yeah,
during the whole film. So I was like, I need a drink, and by God, everybody in front of me was ordering $40 worth of food.
Yeah.
So I go up there and I'm like, yeah, 1 Coke, get it. And then the Taika Waititi film trailer was playing.
Yeah, that movie does not look good.
Next Goal Wins.
The sports thing.
It looks fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else other than that.
Yeah, I don't either.
I just remember walking in and going, thank God I didn't have to sit through that thing again.
All right, we're running long. Let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
I want to do final thoughts, and I want to end on Tina's, so because she has the positive note.
Yeah.
So, Zach, go ahead. Your final thoughts on the movie.
Final thoughts. 90% on Rotten Tomatoes is a little shocking for me for this film. This is... I mean, it's going to work for some people. It's clearly, we're in the minority here.
Yeah, it's working for a lot of people.
And I'm happy for them, but I'm sorry, there comes a gut feeling where you go, no, it's not written well. Foundationally, it has problems. I love that it has a good message at heart, but it really needs to go back into the writing den and fix this shit.
Yep.
It also needs to be trimmed way the fuck down, and Will Ferrell needs to be paid for his role. It was nice. And then cut him from the film.
Yeah.
And we're going to recast someone who's not a complete man-child. Because I'm tired of him doing that one role and nothing else.
Yeah.
Do please get nominated for production design and costuming.
Yeah.
I'm genuine about that. Like, I want that to be nominated for an Oscar. Everything production design and costume. Mwah! I loved Ken's stupid belt that said, like, in the Metallica font, Ken. It was awesome. It was dumb. I need that. I love his stupid fucking coat. It was great. That's my thoughts. 5 out of 10.
All right, so my final thoughts are, yes, it kind of blows me away. I'm starting to see it a little now. It blows me away that fewer people are talking about the problems with the actual story. But I also understand that some people will enjoy and appreciate the message and the visuals enough to not care as much about the story. That's not me. I'm a movie guy. I'm a film guy. I want good writing. Everything else can suck. You can shoot this thing with your cell phone.
We've seen it.
And if it's written well, I'll love it. Because for me, it's story first over everything. You know? So,
I mean,
for me, that's where the problem is. I'm happy that, I'm happy that there's something there that's a good message for younger people, and also, Marvel's has made it where a lot of us that grew up with Marvel have something, and now people who grew up with Barbie have something because it's full of Easter eggs, it's full of things that are from that world. So I think that's great too. But I think a few years from now, when this settles, people are going to come back to it
crawling back
and say, what I just said. It's got a great message. It's got some good actors and beautiful production value. But, man, that story needs some work.
It's going to be, maybe it isn't as good as we thought it was.
Yeah. I feel that. I'm not a gambling man, but I'd put money on it. I think it's going to happen.
Hey, I was right with Jurassic World.
Yep.
I was right with Iron Man 3.
Yep.
And I'll be right with Barbie.
All right. Let's finish out now with Tina's thoughts, because at least someone can give us a positive message. I'm going to make Tina full screen.
Thanks. Let's hope my dog, you guys can't hear my dog farting on camera. So for me, it's about how I felt during this movie, how this movie particularly made me feel. And that's why I think I'm going to stick with my 4.5. I can't remember if I gave it a half star or not. I think it was 4. I'm going to stick with my rating because this made me feel extraordinary in ways that hardly any movie this year has made me feel. Spoilers, it's going to be in my top 10. Suck it up, Zach. But the message to me, the overall message, the twist of who's the villain, who's the ones causing the problems, that I think to me is one of my favorite parts about this movie. And honestly, I hope it's one that I'll get to show Evie years down the road and watch over and over and over.
Yeah, that's probably going to happen.
Over and over. And maybe then I'll change my mind. But for the moment, how it makes me feel is why it's going to remain a highly rated film for me.
And
I think definitely the person that will watch this movie. Steven, you're like, that's not me. It me.
and that is a fair point. How it made you feel, and I think that's not gonna. It's gonna impact the ladies more than it impacts the boys in this particular instance. So we can't relate to it. So, and what I always say to people too, I have to say this on TikTok a lot because people are so sensitive over there. It's like, I didn't like it, but I'm glad you did. I'm jealous
Yeah.
of the fact that you liked it because I want to like everything I see.
Dude, we went
Not
into
every
Barbie
movie
hype.
is made for every person.
Yeah.
We went into Barbie excited for it. We're not like coming in there like, oh fuck, I gotta go see this. No, we're like, hell yeah.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoy this breakdown review because this is kind of what we're doing for the time being. We'll be doing coming up other movies, and we'll reference those when we get to them. So hopefully we'll have Nico back with us next week. Depending
hopefully.
on Evie's teething situation. But let's bring it to an end. Tina, where do we find you on the internet?
You can find me on all major social medias except for that Twitter X.
Yeah, fuck that Twitter X.
Under Cheddar Popper, CheddarPoppr.
Zach?
You can find me on Discord and Steam. I'm a dangerous mute lunatic. You can find me on Instagram. I'm master of the Matrix 91. I screwed myself over because I got this memorized by this point.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me on Letterboxd. Master Z91 and Threads, I guess. But no, you can't find me on X. You can find me on X videos.
Oh, really? Performing or watching?
Wait, that's formerly known as Twitter's way of sharing videos, right?
I don't know.
It's X videos.
That's...
Are you talking about a different web? Is there a different website?
I don't know.
How could this horribly have gone wrong? That's why you don't name your website fucking X.
I don't know if you guys have seen them or if you're even in this fandom, but there's a lot of fucking Kingdom Hearts memes about Twitter right now because in Kingdom Hearts, the evil organization, they just take the character's name and add an X, and that's their inverse.
So
that's funny.
I forgot where I was going to go. Oh wait, did you see that? Did you see online the film X?
Mm-mm.
No.
I mean, I know the movie. I mean,
yeah. This is why you don't title your fucking platform X.
Yep.
Because there's a ton of shit called X.
That's true. All right, so you can find me at everything OTS, movies, TikTok, Letterboxd, Threads, for what it's worth. Those are the best places, really. Right here on this channel every week, and then on TikTok are the best spots. So we will see everybody next week.
Bye, everybody.